Hello, everyone. Road Tide 99 here on this Saturday, December 6th. We made it to SEC Championship weekend. Welcome to Alabama Game Day today. Now, Alabama comes into this game with a record of 10-2, ranked number 9 after having jumped Notre Dame in the previous poll that came out on Tuesday. The opponent, the Georgia Bulldogs. The Georgia Bulldogs come in with a record of 11-1 and ranked number 3 in the nation in the most recent college football playoff rankings. All likelihood points to both teams having a spot in the playoff regardless of the outcome. If Georgia wins, they're guaranteed a first round bye. If Alabama wins, they're guaranteed at least a first round home game. Maybe a first round bye, but it doesn't look likely. In all likelihood, both teams are going to the playoffs unless something weird happens. BYU, there could be a situation in which Alabama for sure has a spot clinched before the game even starts. If in the Big 12 championship game, BYU loses to Texas Tech. But Alabama's not going to count on that. They are going to count on needing a win to guarantee their spot in the playoffs and not leave it up to fate. Alabama does come in with a couple key injuries, one of them being Jam Miller. However, we have seen running back Daniel Hill step up in recent weeks, so we'll see if that matters too much or some other running back can step up. Alabama really did not have solid of a running game the last time they played Georgia. The passing game was what really got Alabama ahead of Georgia. We'll see if Alabama can continue to use the passing game against Georgia to weaken them or if the running game is actually going to shine through, because Alabama hasn't had a good running game, and Georgia historically has been a really good run defense game. So we'll see how that plays out. On the other hand, the Georgia Bulldogs still got Gunnar Stockton as their QB, and most of their weapons are in play, aside from a couple key injuries that happened. The importance of this game cannot be understated. First off, if you win this game, you win one of the most powerful conferences in college football with the SEC. But there's more at stake here. You want to guarantee your Georgia practically their spot's guaranteed, but you want to guarantee a first round home game. If you're Georgia, you got to win the game. If you want to guarantee your spot in the playoffs and get a first round home game if you're Alabama, then you got to win this game. In terms of confidence, well, you saw it last night. Rematches rarely go the way of the person who won the first game. We saw it in 2011. LSU defeated Alabama in the regular season. When they rematched for the BCS National Championship game, Alabama won in a shutout. We saw it 2 years ago. I'm sorry, 4 years ago, when Alabama beat Georgia for the SEC championship game, but when they rematched for the national title, Georgia won. Rematches rarely go the way of the victor of the first game when Alabama's involved. Now, this one's a little bit different one than we've seen before, because you're not rematching for the national championship, you're rematching for the SEC championship. But the fact that Alabama does not have a good track record when it comes to facing Georgia in rematches has to be scary to people who are watching this game as Alabama fans. If you're Alabama, you got to be clicking on all cylinders. You cannot get off to a bad start. You also have to maintain a good lead if you get one. Let's go out there, have a solid performance, and make sure the committee does not drop us out of the playoffs. That concludes today's episode of Alabama Game Day today. If one of your teams are playing in the conference championship games, there was a couple who played last night. We got Ohio State, Indiana later tonight. You got Virginia versus Duke later tonight. BYU versus Texas Tech for the Big 12 championship. That's going to take place in less than a couple of hours. Hope your team does good. Hope your team wins, unless your team is Georgia. And you'll have a good day.